Okay, so we got the linkages off. Here's one right here, and here's the other in there. I used a variety of prying tools. These two right here, I just couldn't show you on the camera. It was just too tight. So I used these two to get under there and pry them open, pry them off. So this fat red battery cable is perfectly in the way, so that is just frustrating. These linkages, here, let me use my little thing as a pointer. These linkages right here are connected to a bracket. They mount themselves on a bracket right here, and it looks like the bracket is bolted to the transmission. So I tried to release one of the linkage cables from the bracket, and it came loose, but now there's a hard line back here that's in the way, and I couldn't get the other one. Anyway, it was getting pretty tight, so we just kind of walked away from that for a minute. We'll get back to that. Anyway, so what we're doing here is we're going to take apart the suspension. I think I can get away with just taking off the steering linkage, the sway bar, the lower control arm, and just leaving the brake and the rotor and the strut tower kind of hanging there. I'm hoping I can get away with that. I'm not entirely certain, but it sure looks like the power steering and the sway bar go with the subframe, as does the lower control arm, as also does, by the way, this is the power steering reservoir. I thought it was the clutch reservoir. That's power steering. So stand by. Okay, there we are. So, I'm gonna need a camera. Not a camera, a hammer. Get my hammer. Okay, so we're gonna disconnect the steering linkage, the sway bar, the lower control arm. Oh, and I'm gonna take the axle nut off and just try to pull this whole mess out and pull the half shaft out. So here we go. Which one is this? It's not that one. It's that one. We'll start with this steering. Oh, that's not a straight shot. Let me get a little extension. I thought I had like a 3-inch extension here for a 1/2 inch. Huh. No, I don't. Well, that's weird. I thought I did. Is that going to be... That's a little tight. Let's give it a shot anyway. Alright, got that one off. And then I'm going to take the control arm off. Okay. Let's give this a little tap. There we are. Got that out. Control arm doesn't want to come off. Usually they just kind of come right out. Ooh. It's giving me a headache. You may have to get a fork. That doesn't come out. Oh. I don't have a fork for those. Yeah, it's not making me happy. Oof. Wow. Well, doesn't want to come. Well, that's unfortunate. I don't want to pry up on it too much because I'll tear that rubber boot right there. Yeah, not happy about that. Let me hit it with some penetrant. Maybe move over to the other side. I'll hit the other side with some penetrant also. Somebody put a floor jack in the way. Someone put a mini in the way. Who would do such a thing? I seem to have misplaced my liquid wrench. But I have some WD-40. So we'll hit this side with it also while we're here. Get it there and there. I'll hit the wheel nut. Same thing over here. Let's hit this wheel nut. And ball joint. And that. We'll get that too. All right. I hope I hit my head a few more times on that damn fender. Yeah, I do have to take the anti-sway off, sway bar. Let's take that off. Oh, come on. Of course, we gotta find a wrench that fits in there now, because the sway bar, the other end of the sway bar is spinning. Oh man, not having a whole lot of luck here. All right, we'll do the wheel bearing next. Do the wheel housing. Axle shaft. I just want to set this in here and give this guy a bit of a tap. I think it's moving already. Yeah, that's moving already. Okay. So that's already loose. So now, the inside, the male threaded portion of the sway bar has an Allen head on it. So we need to get a 16 millimeter open end wrench and an Allen wrench to get that sucker off of there. 16. think these are my metric Allen wrenches, or L wrenches, as some people like to say. There. Oh, this is kind of tight quarters in here. That's working to get the sway bar off. There's tension on that bar. As soon as I pull this off here, it's going to spring. Well, come on. Well, there's not much tension. I just pushed it off. Okay. All right, so now we got the sway bar off, we got the steering linkage off, we got the axle out, the axle ready to come out. Oh, now we still have this ball joint. Man, that thing is a straight up bummer, isn't it? Not making me happy, ball joint. Not making me happy. Man, oh man, that is really stuck in there. What do I got to do to get this off of here? I probably need a special tool. You know, there's two other bolts on the underside of this. I wonder if that's all I need. That's all I need to do is take out these other bolts. Stand by. Let's try that. Really? Okay. So the ball joint is held in. Here, I'll bring you a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing here. Oh, my battery's low. So I've been wanging on this for a while, trying to get this disconnected right here. But as it turns out, there's just a couple of bolts under here. You can take them off real easy. All right, so we pulled all this apart. I pulled the half shaft out of this side, and I just have this whole thing kind of hung up by a strap just to pull the brake rotor and all that stuff out of the way. There's no tension on the brake line, so that's okay. So while the camera was off, I just did the same to the other side. There was no point in trying to film that because the lighting down there over here is terrible. I couldn't take the half shaft out because in there's a carrier bearing preventing the shaft from coming out. In order to get the carrier bearing out, we got to take the subframe out. So we are now at subframe o'clock, and I need to figure out what's going on up here. So what I did was took off these two nuts to free up this reservoir. This is a power steering, by the way. It's not clutch as I originally thought. But there's a heat shield that's down there. You can kind of see it there. And that heat shield looks like it's connected to the bracket that holds up the coolant tank, coolant recovery tank. So I'm pulling out the coolant recovery tank so I can get at that bracket, so I can take off the heat shield. So when I drop the subframe, the power steering reservoir goes with it. Let me put you back here. There we go. All right, so I got this guy out. It's about ready to come out. There's a little spring clip that I need to disconnect in there. Using some angled pliers. That's it. Everything is just really tight on this car. Really tight. Just gonna pull that guy off. Just disconnect it. The coolant's drained, so I'm not expecting any to come out. Nothing better coming out. All right, so we now have what looks to be pretty clear access to this heat shield. Looks like it's on there with 2 bolts, possibly 4 bolts. Let's take them out. What do we think those are? I think those are 16s. Nope. What are they? 15, like 14s? Not even, wow, my metric eye is failing me at this moment. 13s, of course. And the air ratchet. Get some air. Get to ratcheting. Other way. Need an extension. That's a leaky connection there, isn't it? Don't fall. Got it. Tight fit. One more, I hope. Whoop, dropped it. Ah, crap, it fell. Yeah. So I just took these bolts. There's a bolt here and one down here. It's really hard to show these details. One down here and then a couple over on this other side. And I'm hoping, that this just comes out. Ah, there's one more bolt down there somewhere. Crap. Yep, I can tell. It's held on by one more. Ah, ooey. And there, it's probably on the back of the engine somewhere. Son of a biscuit. Oh man, I think I see it. Need another light, different light. I can see one. It's way down there. Is that the one I need, though? Looks like that. Oh, that's the bolt that I just dropped down there. Oh, man. I hope these bolts aren't aluminum. Wow. Yikes. That one's going to be quite a challenge. Maybe that's why everyone just bends these. I can see this thing has been bent before. And there's a real good reason for that. Yeah, we just bend it a little bit. This reservoir will go down there. Okay, I'm just going to bend it. Screw it. All right. Okay. Let's look at the look at taking off the subframe. So there's a bunch of bolts underneath there, and how am I going to take you under there? I don't know. Take the camera under there. Let's see if I can figure it out. Now I'm wondering how this is really going to work. This is probably why they tell you got to suspend the thing from above. Gotta put this right where that rubber thing is, I think. That's fine. Okay. All right, well. This is frustrating. Maybe I can take this out. Nothing's leaking. Come with me. Let's crawl under there and see what we gotta see. Come on. Okay, so here we are underneath. This is the subframe. Now the subframe holds up the engine and transmission. Okay, so what looks like I have to do, there's 3 bolts back there, and conversely on the other side I have to take off. And what else? There's a bolt, there's a member that goes up. I gotta take off, oops, sorry. I gotta take off this one. And that one, I think, because the control arm will come off. The control arm hopefully comes down with the subframe. So those are the bolts back there. I have to take off that one. And that one right there. And I have to take out the subframe first, because up under here is a carrier bearing. This is kind of upside down. There's a carrier bearing right there, and I can't take the half shaft off without taking that carrier bearing out, and that mount has to come out. And that goofy fan, what is that fan for? Anyway, that's going to come out too. I don't know how I'm going to do the camera and show you how I'm doing this, so I'm telling you this now. Okay, so we're making progress. We're dropping the subframe. I'm simply guiding this reservoir down through the heat shield and whatnot. So that's going okay. I did discover under here that I have to take off the steering knuckle. I didn't think about that. The steering knuckle is right there. I'm hoping that I can just take off this nut right there and pull the steering knuckle off and drop the thing. The other thing I found is over here. You have a couple of wires to take off over here. I have to take off, well, you have to undo that clip right there. There's a frame clip, and then you have to disconnect what looks like power steering, the plug for the power steering. And then it looks like we're all disconnected and we're doing fine. So again, I'm not going to be able to film that because I can't put my hands and the camera in there at the same time. But other than that, I think we're doing just fine. Stay tuned. Okay, we're at a bit of a stopping point today. So I disconnected the electrical connections in here, and I pulled off the steering knuckle up under here. You know, it went there, and then just kind of guided the power steering reservoir down through there, and the subframe is on the ground. So we took off the transmission mount that was right here. It was bolted in here and here, and a couple bolts over here. We took out the mount to give a little more room. They have a lift eye on the transmission, so we're gonna, you know, hook the engine hoist to this, take the weight. I've broken loose and taken off several of the bell housing bolts. There was one up under here that you have to go under this wiring harness to get to that was a real pain in the butt, but we got that one out, and the rest of them are ready to come out. But I broke my swivel. I was down to my 3/8 swivel, and I broke it. I broke my 1/2-inch swivel last week, and I just broke the 3/8 today, and I'm going to need my swivel to get down to some of those bolts. So we're at a stopping point for today. It's coming up on 2:30. So let's see, we started at 9. So it's 5.5 hours that we've got this far. Plus I took an hour-long break, so that's 4.5 hours. Did some stuff off camera, so we'll say 5 hours to get to this point. And we're about ready to drop the transmission. Oh, what we'll also do tomorrow is take off the half shaft from the other side, because there was a carrier bearing. We'll have to take the carrier bearing off underneath and take off that half shaft. We'll do that again. We'll do that tomorrow. So my back is telling me it's time to quit for today. So we'll pick it up tomorrow. Thanks for watching.